So good morning to everyone. A very warm welcome to the Virtual Emergency Support Guide Certification Program. This is the batch 3 and session 4. Today we have with us a very special guest from GRT Active, and we're going to talk about performance clothing. We have with us Jessica Martinez. She's the Director of Operations and Design, and she manages the design and development production process. And she's also worked for many major sports brands like Adidas, Hanes brand, and worked with international athletes. And we have Mathew Johnson, and he is the managing director of GRT Active. In 2008, he started his own company in the textural industry from a joint venture with RMIT Melb, developing a new IP, which is now a global patent, and from which several garments like produced for Lululemon, Pacific brands, and several other major international brands. And he is also the vice president, IBM, based out of Singapore. And he is a 5-time multi-finisher. And you got to tell us, Mathew, what is the multi-finisher? And that's a new term that we have come across. And he has finished 8 full marathons, 30 half Ironmans, and 1 ultra marathon. That's an amazing profile. So I would like to hand over to Mathew to start the discussion with telling us about the story of GRT Active and how you got to set up a brand like this. What does GRT mean? You're on mute, Mathew.
You wouldn't believe working for a technology company, I could put myself on, I couldn't get myself off mute. Look, Bunga, thank you for such a lovely introduction, and good morning to everybody. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here with you virtually and to represent GRT Active and Jessica and myself. So a little bit about the history. I'll pause. Am I coming across clearly? Can everybody see and hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. So a little bit about the history of GRT and what does GRT stand for. So multi-finisher is a term that primarily relates to Ironman, and I think like many of us, we sort of fall into sports by accident, and I fell into triathlon by accident. It was one of those situations where I joined a runners group based out of a gym. A friend and I bought bikes. We then started to do biking and running together. We then thought we could swim, and being originally based in Australia, I grew up sort of swimming, so we thought we'd try a hand at triathlons. And then the passion grew, and before I knew it, I was sort of training to compete into a full Ironman. And I'm a multi-Ironman finisher because I've done 5 full Ironman races, all of them in Australia. I never got to compete in Hawaii because I missed the cutoff by about 20 minutes. But having said that, it was probably some of the most amazing and some of the most honest days that you ever had with yourself in my experience. So from that, on my 5th Ironman, I had a very bad bike crash, and I was halfway through the ride. And as you probably know, an Ironman is a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180k bike ride, and then you set about running a marathon. So I was 90 kilometers into my bike ride. It was the last Ironman that I had committed to do, because as you would all appreciate, when you do a lot of sports, it's almost having an additional full-time job. So at that point in time, I had met my wife. We were planning our future, and I was given pretty clear direction. It was a future, or it was Ironman. So Ironman was going to come to an end post that race. So I had set myself a goal. I had to get to the 5 finishes. That was my personal goal. But then I crashed on the bike, and I slid across the road, and my clothes just were ripped to shreds. So I completed the race, having walked and then sort of limped my bike through it. But as I sat there in hospital with my brother, we were thinking, why isn't there something better out there? So we set about doing some research. We did some IP research. We found that there was no patent that for a fabric system or any type of garment that was offered protective wear for cyclists or runners. So we then set about approaching a company called DuPont, whom you might know is a big chemical manufacturer, and was very big in aramid fibers. And we approached them, and they weren't working with anybody. So then we kept looking around, and through various connections, we ended up approaching RMIT Textiles and Design in Melbourne. And then we pitched the concept to them that we wanted to build this type of fabric or structure. So then we formed a joint venture. And GRT means graze resistant technology. So we started with different names and different ideas and different, hundreds of different variations we had, but we settled on GRT. So then from that point, we then set about doing a program. We hired some people at the university to do some research for us. We set about finding the right yarns, the right combinations of yarns. And from that, then we had some IP that was born, then a fabric, and then that led to the patent. In the middle of that, we approached the white space lab at Lululemon, just out of the blue, with an idea and said, hey, are you interested? And they said, yes, absolutely, we'd like to see more. So I packed my bags, went across to Vancouver, met with them, and then they said, let's do some trials. So we did some trials and some fabric for them, and they ended up putting it in a couple of their products, one of their DRT men's tights and some of their socks especially. Then we expanded further, and then we looked at Odlo, and Odlo then took the concept and put it into some of their hiking wear. And then about 2 years ago, we were looking at what else we could do, and good fortune sometimes follows us and sometimes lands in our laps. And I came across Jessica. We met each other just through a former colleague, you could say. We had similar ideas. We had similar levels of trust and respect and appreciation, and we formed a partnership. And I think it's worked. It's been brilliant, I have to say, because Jessica comes up with all the ideas, and I don't have any ideas about what we should do with clothing and garments. She comes up with all that and design, and I just do the other side of it, and it works really well. So she's the one with the brains behind the ranges that you'll see on the website, and that's where we are today.
So Jessica, tell us about the different range of garments offered by GRT Active and their unique features. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jessica.
Jess, you're still on mute.
Am I still on mute? Am I okay?
Yeah, audible now.
Yeah, all good?
Yes.
All right. So we start off with the performance range. Matt, do you want to share your screen?
Yes, I can. Do you want me to get the website up?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me get the website up in the background, and then I'll hit the share screen. All right, I'll let you start, and then I'll
yeah. So we basically started with the performance range with a vision to create garments to help you perform at your best by using innovative fabrics.
I have it up. Can I share it?
Oh, if you've got it up, please share it. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we've got here the Protect Tech. So that was the yarn that Matt was talking about, the Protect Tech. So this is how we started. Our range is basically with these styles, and this is a very strong yarn, and to help you with it's got abrasion resistance and obviously compression. So if you have a look at the garments, they've got quite a wide waistband on the tights. You can't see it at the moment, but for the tights, it's actually got really wide waistband, so for core support. And then we've got all these different patterns. So we've got the mesh patterns where you need ventilation and breathability, and other places we've got different patterns for support. So yeah, and that's the Protect Tech range. So as you can see on the men's, we've got the sorry, I go back to the So we've got in the knee area for your protection. We've got a thicker yarn there. Yeah, so overall that's the Protect Tech range. And then we'll move on to the performance run, if you can go on to that.
Yeah.
So for this range, we basically wanted something, you know, to help you perform at your best. And we had the crop. So we've got the crop, we've got the ventilation, we've got the mesh at the back with the ventilation, plus you've got the reflective logos to help with visibility when you're running. And then you've got the tights, which has also got the wide waistband. It's got the bonded waistband, so it's really very supportive. And then you can see the GRT logo. And then we've got the mesh panel on the knee. All right. Then you've got the run shorts. It's actually got a brief inside. So this is one of our best sellers as well. So along with the tights and the crop, it's really a well-fitted garment, and it's very good for running. You know, even the fabric is really light, yeah, so it's actually got all the seams are flat lock, so it's you know, reduces chafing, you know, at the thigh and everything. So which is really good for running. And then we've got the men's run shorts, which has the inside tights, which, sorry, yeah, it's those with the inside tights, which actually helps with chafing, and you know, it's muscle control as well. So all these garments were basically, you know, will help you perform at your best, and you know, go beyond your peak. So it's not only, so then you got then you've got the men's singlet. That's also got the reflective piping in the front for visibility. And then we've got, you know, under the arm, we've got like mesh panels and things. Then we got the run jacket. So if you go into that jacket, you can actually see they've got a perforated, you know, pattern on the underarm. So for ventilation. So when you're running, you've got the protection in the front. You've got the reflective on the front for, you know, visibility. You've got your pockets for storage, and then you've got your, you know, underarm ventilation, so you don't overheat. So there's a lot that goes into the design, and it's actually got the back vents, the same as for the women's. So it's got vents on the back. So, you know, just to help when you're running. Yeah. So we'll move on to the active range. So we've got the active range, which we have RTs, and you know, we were looking at something that you can work out, go for a run, and also use in the gym. And this is a recycled fabric, and so it's a dry release, which has got antibacterial. So all our garments do have the antibacterial, and you know, which helps with, you know, obviously odor, reduces odor and things like that. All right, so that's our tees with our logo. So the next one, we'll go for the bamboo range. With a bamboo range, we were looking for something, you know, for an athleisure range, and we wanted to go with a sustainable fabric, which was, you know, luxurious. It had a luxurious hand feel. We couldn't go past the bamboo fabric, as it has all the properties we were looking for, you know. It was breathable fabric. It has the UPF 50 plus, and it's 100% natural fibers. And it's, you know, the list goes on. It's got temperature control. So it's really good for, you know, for your yoga, and, you know, your light workouts and things like that. it's a really good, comfortable range to wear, you know, at home as well. I actually live in it. Most of the time I'm living in my bamboo range because it's so good, you know. Yeah, so that's our bamboo range. What else have we got? And then we've got our urban range, which is the puffer jacket. So it's actually a goose down a puffer jacket, which has you know, which has all the it has a goose down. It's the premium quality goose down. It keeps you really warm, I can tell you. Yeah, we haven't spared any expense for this one. So it's got all the internal pockets. We've got, you know, and all our garments basically, you know, have a really good fit. So, you know, it helps you basically enjoy. Say if you're going for a walk, enjoy your walk without feeling cold. Yeah. What else do we have? That's about it.
Yeah, are you working on any new technology right now? Any new product or new technology?
So we have a lot of new products. You know, we've got a lot of innovative ideas and products. So one of which is like a multi-sport shorts that we have for both men's and women's, which is you know, it's a run short with the tights on the inside, which you get. It has the tennis pockets. So it's still in the development stages. So it's got the pockets for the tennis. It has a back pocket for, you know, you can keep your phone when you're running. It actually protects your phone. So we have.
What's a tennis pocket actually?
So it's actually a pocket that instead of it, you know, you normally put your hands in your pockets from the top going down. With the tennis pocket, it actually is from the bottom, and it's got a little bit of elastic there. So that actually grips the pocket, the ball. So you can keep your, when you're, you know, when you're playing tennis, you can keep the balls in there. You'll see the tennis players, they actually use that.
Oh, for the tennis players, okay.
Yeah, so this is a multi-sport. So you can use it for tennis. You can use it as actually, it's a run plus a try. So you can use it as for a bike ride. So it's going to have a removable chamois. So I don't know if most of you will know what a chamois is. I've actually got one here just to show you. So this is what's going to be in the shorts, and it will be removable. So when you're running, obviously you don't need it, but when you want to go for a bike ride, you can, you know, you'll have space to put this into a pocket at the back for storage, and you can keep that. And then it's actually, you can put that in when you're going for a bike ride. And
the tights inside really help with the chafing when you're running. It's like it just gives some protection to the skin. So I think that's a good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And the thing is, it'll all be compression, so it's actually good for your circulation as well.
So especially with the pockets, my experience is that when you carry a mobile and the mobile is in your pocket and it's swinging along with your gait.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's the most difficult part. Like, so like you put something in the pocket. So some running gear pockets are fine. Like the phone doesn't move up and down. So
yeah,
right there in the
perfect. You know, that's what we're looking for. So at the moment we're looking for something, you know, which will actually have this pocket will actually form as a you know, you can actually keep your towel. So it's like a loop, and you can actually keep your towel there as well when you're running, or your t-shirt or your lightweight jacket that you can loop on there while you're running. So it's so I've actually called it a revolution shorts. So because I'm hoping, you know, that it's going to do all these things in this one short.
Okay. So what are the geographical markets that you cater to right now?
So I'll get Matt to respond to that one.
Sure. So what are we catering to at the moment? So look, I'm based in Singapore. So obviously we'll cater for Australia and Singapore. We do quite a bit of trade into the United States at this point in time. But we're, you know, I guess our major markets probably are United States, Southeast Asia, and obviously into Europe, although we haven't got a lot of penetration into Europe yet. but we're very keen to broaden our exposure and broaden our expanses as far as we can. So they're the major markets we're working on at this point in time.
Right. So do you have presence in India and any specific plans for the market?
We would love to have a presence in India. I've had the good fortune with my other job of working in India for many years, and we really want to expand into India and get penetration and some following. We don't do retail stores, we're purely online. So our model is that we will purely look to do online sales and online sort of retail trade. And by doing that, it helps us keep the investment up in the products, and doesn't mean we have to take a bigger margin because we haven't got all these fixed costs. So we do have some plans. We have done a little bit of marketing in India, which we got some amazing followers quickly. But we would welcome support. We'd welcome people who want to try and champion the products, and we're happy to send them to you for you to have a look at and give feedback. We only ask that you send us some images so we can post them, and then we can share your comments and your successes with other people. But yeah, we're definitely very keen to expand into India and the region. Yeah,
thank you so much for offering to support our athletes. I'm very grateful for that. Just a little bit about understanding on how to select a garment which is suited for a specific sport and condition. We just want to know about, like most of us use specific garments for our sport, but very few people really understand how the garment we choose impacts our performance. So could you just explain some of the parameters one must consider when choosing the garment?
All right. So what it is basically, first thing most important is, choosing a performance-based fabric, and, ensuring it does have, reading the labels, and actually make sure it does have antibacterial and moisture wicking, which is important, especially when you're a runner. And, that's what we cater for, is basically ensuring that, you've got moisture wicking, which is, when you sweat, it's basically the fabric absorbs the moisture from, and takes it away from your body. So it doesn't stick. I remember you, Bhumika, you explaining to me that, I had that experience of the fabric sticking. So to your skin when you're running, and
especially these cottons and some of the fabrics, like because I sweat so much, it just sticks to the body, and then you are like really uncomfortable. You just want the fabric off your body. You just want to change into another t-shirt.
That's correct. So that's where you're looking for, is basically a performance-based fabric that will take away that so you're looking for moisture wicking. Is basically ensure that you have temperature control, and, ventilation. So very, very important, breathable fabric. And, like we put ventilation and under the arms and things. So that's what you're looking for, is basically, where you can have ventilation under the arms, on the back, and, all your sweat points. So that's very important when you're looking for garments.
How should one decide on the garment for different weather conditions, like hot, humid?
Yeah, so sometimes, like when I was talking about bamboo, so it actually is it's a very good fabric when it comes to, it actually moderates your temperature. So when with the bamboo, it keeps you warm in winter and cool in summer. I'm not saying that you can use it for running, but it's something like that you're going to be looking for. It's a performance wear fabric, so it'll either be a polyester or a nylon based fabric. Yeah, and you'll go from there.
How about the thermal wear for winter, like extreme cold, minus temperatures?
Yes. So you're looking for, like,
when you do multiple layers.
Yeah.
What type of fabrics should be covered?
Yeah, so that will still be like, like we've got the seamless garments. It's normally a base layer that you'll be looking for. And, and you'll actually look for something like for India, for example, you'll be looking for a really lightweight garment, a breathable garment, and then you'll layer it with a jacket, like a lightweight jacket, which has ventilation. So you still got the warmth in the front when you're running, but then you've got ventilation on the back and under the arm where, you need that. So that would help with that. I know there was a question in regards to wetsuits.
Yes, so you're talking about you're getting into manufacturing wetsuits. So we do have triathletes here. So Niket Dalal is here, and he's been and Khushbu is a triathlete.
Okay. Well,
yeah, you can just tell us a little bit about wetsuits. Yes.
Yeah. So at the moment, we're not doing wetsuits, which we plan to do at a later stage. But it's obviously it's a neoprene garment, which is a rubber-based garment. So one of the things is a fit for every garment, whether it's a run or triathletes. The first thing you're looking for is a really good fit. And with that, you have to be, you start off with being really careful. So you actually have to wear gloves to start, even to try a garment on. It's, to protect your wetsuits, you should, wear your gloves. And the first thing you do when you're going to look for one is actually lie on the floor, put the wetsuit on, lie on the floor, facing the ground. And then you perform the motions that you would in the water, just so that you can see how it fits, and ensure that there's no chafing on the back. Otherwise, you'll get some burns. There's a lot of different things, and another thing is for your arm movement. So one of the things is when you're doing the motions, you actually have to check whether there is, because there are a lot of wetsuits out there that don't give you that flexibility in the arms. So they're very rigid and you can't move, that obviously you're looking for like, hydrodynamic fit. So you actually make sure that it's really, fits firm on the body, but it's still flexible in the arms, that you can, have those movements that can make you perform better. So yeah. Hope that helps.
What about a tri-suit? How do we go about selecting that?
So tri-suit as well. So, first thing I would suggest is like a compression tri-suit. So you've actually got a really good fitting garment, still the movement and flexibility. So you're looking for a lighter weight on the arms. So a lighter weight fabric on the arms. So there's movement, there's flexibility, and breathability as well, obviously, and with a tri-suit, you're always looking for something with a front opening, because you do want, at times there'll be times where you want to open up. So it's a double zip where you can open up the bottom or the top. So I think having those features on the garment is a really good one. So that, when you're for ventilation, you can actually open up a little bit. So while you're running, you just open up on the front and the bottom, or on the top, where, wherever you feel you need it. And, even though you have pockets on the back, ensuring that the fabric is breathable. So, they normally do it. If it's a really good tri-suit, you'll always have a mesh fabric on the back, because that's a really that's a sweat point, and most of the times people ignore that, because they put pockets in, and then it's not very functional. So having that breathable fabric will really help with that. And obviously a good gripper on the hem. So the hem band normally has the gripper. So ensuring that it's really got a good quality gripper. And when you stretch it, so one of the good things is you stretch it, and then you can check whether it recovers, so good recovery in the fabric, that's very important. and it needs to be obviously chlorine resistant. So that's also another feature.
Right.
I hope that helps.
So when we go to the Marathon Expo, we see so many stalls, and I think majority of the stalls are on accessories.
Okay.
More than the garment itself, like the headbands and the sweatbands and socks and those what do you call the armbands, the
Yes.
arm covers. So
Yeah.
yeah, so how do you go about there's so much
Selecting.
variety available. How do you pick something? What would be appropriate?
All right. So, like I said, first thing you'd ask them is, is this a compression garment? So it's going to help you. You're looking for, obviously, first thing that fabric, if it's a breathable fabric, then you're looking for compression. It's actually the fit. So most importantly, you'll try it on to see if it fits right, because it needs to support you at the end of the day. So yeah, that's the most important thing for. And so like you talk about caps, with a cap you always find something that's got a mesh or something which is breathable, so that you don't overheat. So that's, and even with a pair of socks, for example, as a runner you'll be looking for cushioning on the ball of your feet as well as the heels, and then compression on your ankles, and yeah.
So arm sleeves have been really helpful to me when I do these runs in cold temperature, especially. So you can pull down the arm sleeves. You don't want full sleeves shirt to be worn throughout the race, and you just want to you just pull it down or pull it up depending on places like Boston Marathon. You have so much of temperature fluctuation, like you
Yes.
don't know whether it will sunny after. So the second half of the race may be quite sunny, and it can be quite cold, rainy in the beginning. So that
Yes.
those temperature changes is something that has been really difficult. So
Yeah.
what about arm sleeves? How do we select that now?
All right. So with the arm sleeves, like I said, we're actually developing some. So we're really excited about that. We're actually doing some seamless ones as well as, the cut and sew arm sleeves. So that will be available hopefully soon enough. But it's actually how it's a fit. And, that's our main focus, is actually the fit of the garment, because you can have the best fabrics. If the garments don't fit right, then it's of no use, And
there's a small, medium, large, I think, which is available in many of
yeah.
the brands.
So normally you'd go for a small, especially for women, you'll go for a small or an extra small, but mainly a small. And you try it on, and it needs to be really firm, starting right from your wrist right through. You don't want it too tight on the ends as well. So that's something to look at. Yeah, I think it needs to you have the control and support. So that's what you'll be looking for. Yeah.
What about varying intensity or distance, like high intensity training versus moderate intensity? How do we go about selecting the garments for these? Marathon versus ultra marathon versus 10 kilometers versus 5 kilometers.
Yeah, like if you're running, like I said, it's what you're comfortable in. At the end of the day, you're looking for no chafing. So that's the most important bit, making sure the garments have the flat lock seams. At the moment we are doing bonded seams. So that's basically reducing any seams. So like the seamless garment. So you want to wear something like a pair of shorts with the tights inside. Especially for you, Bhumika, I would say something like that. It's still modest, but you're still getting all the benefits when you're running. It's still helping you perform at your best.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can open the forum for questions. Like if anybody has questions, you can put it on the chat window, or you can unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sandhya.
When we say performance enhancing material for high performance athletes, there are certain athletes who are blamed for wearing such garments which gives an undue advantage to them. So, what is your take on that?
Sorry, I didn't hear the whole question. I'm sorry.
Like when we say performance enhancing material for athletes,
Yes.
so some are blamed. Like in the 1990s, Florence Griffith Joyner was blamed for wearing a performance enhancing dress, which gave her an undue advantage from other athletes. So I didn't understand that. Anything on that?
Look, I don't know the whole story behind that. Matt, do you know anything about that?
Look, no, I don't. But what with our garments, we stay within the bounds that we're supposed to stay within. And our garments are based on our global patent, particularly the Protect Tech range. So, everything we've done is within competition rules. So if anyone was wearing any of the GRT products, you wouldn't be deemed to be going outside of those rules. But that's a very interesting point. There are many cases when people have embarked on taking performance-enhancing maybe substances or clothing or other bits and pieces, which actually then could give them an unfair advantage. And you may remember some of that was to do with some of the swimsuits. So there was also a talk a lot about some of the swimsuits that Ian Thorpe were wearing that were seen to be giving undue advantage. But we work with the regulatory bodies. We ensure that everything that we do meets the right standards. So no one can be. We're not crossing any of those lines. And I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure.
Deepika ma'am, can I ask? Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead, Niket. Niket is the half Ironman and India's first blind half Ironman.
Half Ironman, congratulations! That is fantastic. Do you have a plan to try and do a full Ironman in the near future, Niket?
Yes, definitely. And I add some future features in tri suits or some sports wears. Decent colors and fabric boost our confidence level while race and while practice sessions also. So the good fabric material, it's always boosting our confidence level. And I also want to know, is there any adjustment to race belt in tri suit or means in fabric? Hello.
Hi, Niket. So your question is, have we built a race belt into any?
For beep card, it's irritating to wear one another belt and attach beep card while racing or while event. So on the backside of tri suit or t-shirts, it's an inbuilt race belt if possible.
It's funny, Nick. I don't know what. I mean, when I used to race halves and Ironmans, I used to put all the labels on, then I would rip them off as I go through the various stages, particularly from the bike to the run. But look, you raised something that we will take note of. We welcome any ideas that based on people's experience, but we are looking at doing tri-suits in the future, although we haven't. We've done some designs, Jess, I think, but we actually haven't put anything into production right now. But you raise a really good point. To have the ability to have those race belt facilities or race belt built in would be a good idea.
Yeah. And another one point is there means in tri-suit there must a small garbage compartment. As a visual impaired runner or athlete, it's many times difficult to handle garbage in hands and a bottle or small chocolate vapors or protein bars, and it's a small garbage compartment. If possible, then it's useful.
Oh, for sure.
And it's shoot in front of means tri suit or front side. Its backside, it's difficult to take chocolates or energy bar and open zip and then close it. Many times the wrapper or it's means fell down and you cannot pick it again.
Okay. Yeah, that's such a good suggestion. Definitely will take that into consideration.
Yes.
Nick, on that, I know Jessica talked about having the tennis pocket on the legs.
Yes.
Would you, and I know what you mean. I mean, I used to try and put things on my legs and have, pockets on my legs to store my energy.
That's good idea.
Do you think the leg would be a good possibility as well, like maybe on the outside or something like that? What's your thoughts, please?
And my last its query is, I'm a long distance cyclist also. So is there any advanced jelly pads in cycling shorts for avoid chafing and it's all?
In the cycling shorts, yes. I mean, early in the piece we talked about our multi-short that Jessica showed the pad for, but that in the cycling shorts, so we are developing, particularly under the Protect Tech range, we are developing a cycling short. Jessica's nodding as I'm saying that, so I'm saying the right thing, which is good. And we will have a gel pad or a pad in there that you can move. And in my experience, and I appreciate your comments, Nick, is that when I would move from the bike to the run, the ability to remove the pad made the running that much easier. So, but then cycling without the pad is absolutely painful. So you've got to have that ability to do both. So yeah, great points. And yes, we will have the pad in the Protect Tech bike shorts. One other thing I do want to say about the Protect Tech range, because the yarn we're using is basically non-porous, which means the core yarn doesn't take moisture, which is going to aid the wicking capabilities of the Protect Tech for the sports range going forward. So I once we get some more stock, I'd welcome maybe some feedback from you from a ride or something as to what you think.
Thank you. Over to you, Bhumika ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nikit. So Kirtana had a question on plus sizes. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yeah, hi all. I generally, I mean, I'm not a full swing athlete, but I do cycle, I do jog, I do walk. But when I go for buying sportswear, I'm a person who is a heavy body person. So when I go to buy sportswear, a general challenge that I face is that something that I like, but it doesn't fit me. It says it is XL, but then the waist size is 34 or 35, which does not fit me. So I always I always feel bad that I like something that's in a sportswear, but I cannot buy it because it does not fit me exactly. And sometimes it's almost like it's not for people who are huge. I mean, sportswear is not for people who are huge. So does your brand look at producing stuff, making stuff for plus size people?
So yeah, I share your sentiments. I'm a big girl myself, and I totally understand that. Our first range went up to an XL, but we do realize that there's so many people out there who would love to exercise but don't have the right fitting garments on a bigger size. So that's one of our aims going forward, is basically to have something that will we can have a bigger range. So we are doing 2XL in some of our ranges, like for example a bra. It's more supportive bra, which will help with for a bigger size. So at this stage, we are going out to a 2XL as well for some of our garments.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Jai Prakash is from IBM. Jai, you have any questions? He's a good runner himself. Anybody else?
He's probably on mute.
Yeah.
Hi, Bhumika.
Hi, Rupa. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question regarding a sports bra. Like, what size one should choose? Like, one size is 32 chest size. Then that person should go with the same size or tighter one.
So if you're looking at, for runs and for exercise, I think it's better you go for a size smaller, because it will, give you more support, because it depends on the brand, of course, but most of the times it's better to go for one size smaller so you have more support.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Rupa.
Yeah, hi, I have a question. Particularly for my body, I immediately start feeling very hot if I do exercise for 30 minutes or even I run or walk. So, that's why I don't usually prefer dry fit clothing, because if I start feeling hot, I start feeling very uncomfortable. So
Sure.
the performance or the active gear that you have, you
Yes.
said it is breathing fabric, right? So will
Yes.
that kind of fabric help in such conditions?
Yeah, for sure. And for some of them, obviously, if you're going to extreme conditions, it won't. But definitely, even like the bamboo range, if you're going for a walk, you can try out a bamboo garment, and it's the most comfortable garment that you can wear. It's like so light and so luxurious. At the same time, it's so breathable as well. So it depends on what you like, because I know sometimes people like that cotton feel, and so that's why we've got the active range. We've got the dry release tee that will help with those conditions.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sucheta. Anybody else? Anaga has joined from Mumbai. She's a blind athlete who is a very good runner herself. Anaga, do you want to unmute yourself and ask any question you have?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I can talk a little about the logo, Bhumika, just to give people an idea of what our
Yeah.
logo means
Yeah, please.
and the image we're trying to create. So, look, I really want to say it's been a really, thank you everyone for all your comments. And we, on our website, you'll see our information email. So we welcome input from anyone. But what we've tried to create is a real vision here. So we only have a limited set of products available at the moment, but we are going to grow and to increase that. So our logo, as you can see at the top there. So when we thought, what are we trying to tell the athletes? And what was my experience being an athlete that I wanted to share? And, I found that my journey as an athlete it's all about strength, and that's mental strength, physical strength, endurance strength, time strength, pressure strength. It's all about so many different facets of everyone's day. And it's the days when you don't like having to go for a run, but you get out, you do. It's that sort of strength. And so there's always ups and downs, and there's always a journey. There's good days and bad days. So if you look at the logo, the outside of the logo, the image of the outside of the logo is originally based on the Greek symbol of strength. And then within the center of the logo, we have the yin and the yang. So what we wanted to do was to have a view of, it's a global perception. It's not just limited to one market. So we wanted to appeal to all parts of the population. So we thought it's East meets West, but it's the journey of strength that you go through with the ups and the downs. And then the drops at the top, they're just drops of inspiration or motivation that, it's when you hit that moment and you hit that peak and you achieve that. It's that drop of life that you get at the top of the logo. So I just wanted to, you know, when we looked at other brands' logos, some people had an upside down in, some people had other different sorts of things. We wanted it to really mean something and stand for something. So that's really what our mission statement, our purpose of what GRT is really all about.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Mathew. So we have Venkatesh Ishwar Kapoor, Dr. Ishwar Kapoor from San Diego, he has joined in a little late. Dr. Ishwar, would you like to add anything?
Oh no, hello. I'm just here listening in.
So we've covered a lot of aspects on performance clothing, and Dr. Kapoor is also an elite athlete. He's been a former elite athlete.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, it's really interesting to see your project, and we're happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your support. We'd welcome to share some of it with you. So maybe Bhumika can put us in touch, and we can ensure that you get to try some of what we're working on. And again, welcome your feedback. You know, feedback from athletes is really important to us.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Anybody else has questions? Oh, okay. So if there are no questions, then we will close the session. And thank you, Mathew and Jessica. It was really wonderful having you here and you talking to our athletes. And yeah, thank you, Riaz. Riaz is saying thank you for a useful session. And so thank you. And we look forward to interacting more with you and the new products that you come up with. So signing out now. Thank you all for joining.
Pleasure, everybody. Let us know when your next event's on. We'll make sure you get some materials from us, some clothes from us.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Bhumika.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, Mathew.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.